still leaking. Still got an air leak somewhere. I might change the block. So I've got a couple of spare blocks. So hopefully these are good. Go from there, eh? As you can see from the gasket, it's very wet. So that would tell me that it wasn't sealing properly. So I'll change that block. So here we go. Alright, we'll change the block. We'll see if she runs better. Alright, let's see if a different spark plug will do it. go. So, just to clarify something here, these spark plugs that I'm using aren't new. The isolator block isn't new. There was one gasket out of the one, two, three. There's only 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's one there, one over here, one over there, one of those 4. So out of 4 gaskets, only one is new. The other 2 original, and the other one I changed with a good one, but it was still used. So, and it's sort of running, I'd say 95%. There's something still not 100% there, but it's idling. Rev's good, but it's not 100%. It just goes to show you, if there's something going on, you want to change all the gaskets, brand new gaskets, and a brand new block. This is what I'm talking about. Brand new one of these. And if it still plays up, then you know it's not the carb. If the carb is good on something else, then you know it's not the carby. And that's why I felt it before here to see if the head was loose, because sometimes they come loose. So you check the bolts on the head, and then you got to check the gasket. Now, if it's really still not running at all, it could actually be the head gasket, which isn't a big deal to change. But yeah, on these 2 bolts, they're more likely to go as well. There's 2 bolts on this one. Most of them these days have got 4 bolts. A lot more even pressure on the head for the head gasket. Less likely to blow out a head gasket, whereas these old ones, more likely. I think this is an original HPI. It's 26 engine, so yeah, pretty old. So yeah, so there you have it. There's you know, a little bit of troubleshooting hit there that I showed you, just in case your rig doesn't want to start. The other one as well, I'm not sure if I mentioned it earlier, when you get something second hand like this, make sure that the lines are correct. In the past, I've had this clear one actually to the feed that goes into the bottom of the tank, a little filter, a little fuel filter there, and that was actually on the top here, so this wasn't actually filling up properly. You've got to make sure that this fills up properly. If that doesn't fill up properly, it means it's the wrong way around. Make sure this little hole in here that vents it, if you're having a long bash and all of a sudden it plays up, just check that hole, make sure it's not blocked up. If it doesn't want to start, like I did, change spark plugs. Check this thing as well, make sure it's actually clipping onto the spark plug properly. Sometimes they spin around to one side inside there, and it doesn't actually clip over properly, so make sure that's correct. Another one, if it doesn't want to start, if you've been bashing and it's been in a rollover or whatever, sometimes your pull start might start getting harder. This coil might have moved closer to your flywheel, and that's why it won't start. Yeah, and you just make sure you got worst case scenario. Well, initially what you do when you first get in doesn't want to start as well is you want to make sure you check what the carby is, and you put these needles setting to the factory settings. I think it's 1 1/4 on this low and 1 1/2 on the high, so you go all the way in, and then you go 1 1/4 on this one, all the way in, 1 1/2. That's a rough gauge that I normally do, and it sort of works out alright. I had to play with this one a little bit for the idle to be correct. If you give it more fuel, which is anti-clockwise on this bottom one, you've got to remember to just raise the idle a bit, otherwise more fuel will just, it won't idle, it'll just kill it. It'll be too much fuel. But rule of thumb for me, and it really depends on what fuel you're using, as long as the pipe has a little bit of smoke coming out, you're safe. If it's 100% dry and you can hear it when you just bleep it, that it sort of half dies and then goes, it's too lean. So you need to open this out a little bit. Or if it actually idles good, then it's this one. It's pretty much like on the OBR site on how to tune. Once it idles, you pretty much don't touch this and this, the lower needle or the idle. If you're running around and something happens, blah blah, or it's not running right, you pretty much touch the top one, because that's your full throttle sort of needle. I never really knew about that earlier on, and I was always mucking around with these bottom needles, this bottom needle and the idle. But yeah, once it idles good, quick bleep, it responds good, then you don't touch it. You only touch this one. Let's say if you go on full throttle and it's really smoky and it's not going anywhere, go in a little bit at a time until it's not too smoky and you can hear it clear up. Or like I said, if it's too lean and the car sort of bah 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 if it does that, then you got to go anti-clockwise to give it more fuel on the top end. So clockwise to lean, anti-clockwise to richen it up. But yeah, so I just thought I'd do this video. I don't know, might help someone. I know there's a few people out there that struggle with these things, especially, and this is where I come back to, if you're new to the hobby, unless you know where your potential second-hand rig comes from, and you know the guy's looked after and runs good and starts good and all that sort of shit right in front of you, you got no, you know, it's okay to buy that. But most times, you know, like this one's got a hole in here, and this thing wouldn't run. You know, wouldn't run with the other setup. So obviously there's something wrong with the gaskets and blocks and all that sort of shit. So if you're not prepared to tinker straight up, just get a new one. Just get a brand new one. Get I think a King Motor or Roven. Yeah, and you're probably better off. And if you stuff it up or something happens, then you know that that it's not old gaskets. It's something else that you've done or you've broken, and you go from there. But yeah, or you do buy a second-hand one like this, and you just replace. You could actually put a whole brand new motor in it straight away. New motor and carb, all new gaskets, and same thing. It'll be good. So yeah, you got a couple of options, I guess.